Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shah, double honor to the apostles, GMS. My name is Amna Allah, coming at you with another lesson. And I'm going to be going into, I'm going into Psalm, the 9th chapter, but I'm going to start from, I'm going to deal with Genesis, the 4th chapter first, the first 10 verses. So to give you a build up, Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife. Stop. Adam knew Eve, his wife. That word knew. That word did. Says in Hebrew. Knew. Yada. Okay? The word there is yada. To know, learn to know. That's what it really says. It doesn't really say much. Okay? That's what it says. It's what it really says. It doesn't really say much. Make oneself known. It's just basically, I don't gotta read the whole thing. You brothers saw it. It says the same thing. It just means to know. That's what it really means. To know, to be revealed. So it says, and Adam knew Eve, his wife. So when it says Adam knew Eve, his wife, the word there knew in the Hebrew is yada, which means to know. In fact, I'll read some of it. I'll read a little bit of it. To know, learn to know, to perceive and see, find out and discern, to discriminate, distinguish, to know by experience. See that? To know by experience. Because when it said to know, it means he has sex with her. That's why it says that. Okay? As a matter of fact, when you get deeper into it, when it says knew, it's talking about he knew her carnally. In other words, through the act of sex. Because there was even a movie that came out back in the 70s. I believe it had Jack Nicholson in it. And it was called Carnal Knowledge. And basically what the movie was about was, he was going around having sex with a bunch of different women. He was having carnal knowledge of these women. He knew these women physically by uncovering their secret parts. Okay? As a matter of fact, an R&B group in the 90s called Jodeci had a song called Come and Talk to Me. And the chorus goes, they say, come and talk to me. I really want to meet you. I really want to know you. Okay? Know you how? Or who are you? What's your name? No. Know you physically, carnally, through the act of sex. So when it says that Adam knew Eve, his wife, it's saying he had sex with Eve. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived, or he knew her carnally. He had carnal knowledge of her. And she conceived and bare Cain, which Cain goes back to the Hebrew word quayam, which means like a spear, like a dagger, like a weapon. And said, I have gotten a man from the Lord, from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel. The word there, Abel, comes from the Hebrew word abal, which means like transitory. You hear 1 minute, going next. And you're going to understand why. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground and offering unto Yahweh Shemel Shah. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. So Cain brought fruit of the ground, Abel brought the firstlings of his flock, like you're supposed to do. Which that right there proves you that the law was already in effect from the beginning. But it was an oral law. It wasn't yet written down in stone, because when you go into Leviticus, it speaks about the different sacrifices. And it was the sacrifices of the firstlings of your flock, not of no fruit. So that shows you that the law was around back then, but it wasn't etched in stone. The law was passed down orally, okay? Meaning through word of mouth, being taught. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. So the Most High didn't respect Cain's offering. Okay, and Cain was wroth, his countenance fell. He was pissed off, he was angry, he was upset. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? Why are you upset? Why are you angry? If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Okay? That's talking about Satan, Because if you don't do well, then sin lies at the door, and Satan's going to have his desire with you and rule over you. Okay? And that's what happened to Cain. Because Cain didn't do well, and it's going to go into right now. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Now, I said, and Cain talked with his brother, so basically, he was talking to Abel, and it came to pass when they were in the field, Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. So Cain was talking to him, and then when they got into the field, he just rose up and slaughtered Abel, killed him. He speaks. Basically, what he did was he was like, that's Esau. This is just really a precursor of Jacob and Esau. Abel being Jacob and Cain being Esau. Okay, because he basically speaks smooth words to him. Let's get that real quick. Psalms 55 and 21. It says, "The words of his mouth were smooth than butter, but woe was in his heart. His words were salted in oil, yet they were drawn swords." That's what Canaan did. His words were smoother than butter, but woe was in his heart, meaning woe was in his mind. But he speaks smooth words. His words were salted in oil, yet were they drawn swords, meaning his words were smooth, but really he drew swords, meaning he was intending violence upon you. Like the white man does now. We're going to go over here, we're going to help these people. He's speaking smooth words. Softer than smoother than butter. You know what I'm saying? Softer than oil. But war's in his heart. Okay? In his heart he drawn swords. Alright? And Cain talked with his brother Abel, and it came to pass when they were in the field. So he basically drew them away from their parents, drew them away from Adam and Eve, got into the field. That Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him, which goes into their name. Cain Quayan, meaning weapon, like a dagger or like a spear. Okay, that's Quayan. And Abel, a bow, meaning transitory. Here, one minute going on that, because don't get it twisted now. This wasn't the first day they was born. Even though this is only in the 8th verse and they're mentioned in the 1st verse, this is not like 1 month. These are years, decades that went past. Okay? Now the point of me mentioning that is of mentioning that because their names are gonna show for what they was gonna be in life. Abel was here going to next. Not literally one day. He was here for a while, and then the next minute he was taken away. He was only alive for like 8 verses. For 8 verses. You know, Abel was born, the next minute Abel was slain. And the Lord said unto Cain, "Where's Abel thy brother?" The Lord said, "Where's your brother?" And he said, "I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?" Yeah, you are your brother's keeper. You're supposed to keep your brother. You're supposed to watch your brother's back. That's the spirit of the damn devil right there for you, man. Am I my brother's keeper? The hell you are. And he said, "What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground." Right. The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Let's look that up in the Hebrew. Look at that word crieth. That word there is tazak. Okay? Tazak. Tazak. To cry out, call, cry for help. To cry out for help. To cry out in distress or need. To make outcry, clamor, to be summoned, to cry aloud, to call together. And so when the Most High said, "The voice of thy brother crieth unto the blood of thy brother crieth unto me from the ground," what it's saying is, it wasn't meaning that his actual blood was crying. When it says his blood crieth unto him from the ground, Abel's blood was shed upon the earth. Abel's blood was shed upon the earth. And now that Abel's blood was shed upon the earth, Abel was in the spirit world crying to the Father, crying to the Heavenly Father, making an outcry, a cry for help or a cry for distress. So the blood of his brother Abel crieth unto him from the ground, because his blood was shed upon the ground, shed upon the earth. And being that his blood was shed upon the earth, now Abel, whose blood was shed upon the earth, he's now in the spirit world with the Father, and he's crying unto the Father in distress. He's crying unto the Father in for help, okay? Because he was just slain by his brother Cain. All right? So that's what that's talking about. Now, let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 9, verse 16. 9 verse 12, excuse me. Psalm chapter 9, verse 12. When he maketh inquisition for blood, let's go to that word inquisition. I got the word right here. Okay? As a matter of fact, just to show you that this is the actual word, I might as well just go to it here, just so you brother can see it. Even though I already got it up, you know. The word there is darash, and it says to resort, seek with care, inquire, require, to resort to, frequent a place, tread a place, to consult, inquire of God, seek of God, of heathen gods, necromancers, to seek deity in prayer and in worship, which is not talking about no heathen gods and necromancers, okay, or heathen deities. So, to investigate, to ask for, to practice, to study, to follow, seek with application, to allow oneself to be inquired of, consulted only of God. So when it says, when he maketh inquisition, it's saying when he maketh to investigate, or when he inquires or makes a demand. So when he makes a demand or inquires or investigates blood that was shed, he doesn't forget the cry of the humble. Just as when you go back to Genesis, the 4th chapter. Remember, the Most High said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. That's the Most High making what? That's the Most High making inquisition. Okay? That's him making inquisition. Because he said, what hast thou done? He's making inquisition. He's doing what? He's investigating. He's seeking with a demand. What? A demand to know what you just done. Like we just read in the book of Genesis, the 4th chapter. Okay? So it says, when he inquireth, when he maketh inquisition for blood, he's investigating. He's inquiring. He's demanding. Okay? He's seeking, inquiring, investigating, and demanding when he maketh inquisition for blood. So when he maketh inquisition for blood, or when he seeks out the blood, who has shed blood, or when he makes an investigation for blood that was shed, or when he inquires for blood that is shed, such as in the book of Genesis, the 4th chapter, and the 10th verse, when he said, what hast thou done? Right? He remembereth them, right? He remembers them. He doesn't forget. He remembers. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. He doesn't forget the cry of the humble. Okay? That word there for cry is tazakwa. And it says cry, outcry against, cry of distress. He forgave not the cry of distress of the humble. That's why when you go to right here, that word crieth is tazak, like we just read. It's tazak. And when it says that word's for that's the word there for let me go back to it real quick. That's the word there for crieth. Just like here, tazakwa. Okay? That's why it says that there. Tazakwa is cry, and tazakwa is crieth. Okay? Or tazakwa. Tazakwa, you say it fast, it sounds like you're saying a different word, but you understand what I'm saying. So when he maketh inquisition for blood, or when he maketh darash for blood, or inquireth of blood, or investigate of blood that is shed, he remembereth them, and he forgetteth not the tazakwa, or the cry of distress of the humble. He doesn't forget the cry of distress from the humble. Okay? How can we prove that? He didn't forget the cry of distress. Because why? Genesis 4:11. And now art thou cursed from the earth. See, he's cursing Cain. That shows you he didn't forget. He remembered the cry of the humble. He remembered the cry of Abel, who was the humble, which had opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tellest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee a strength. A fugitive is a person who flees from justice. And a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. Right, a vagabond. A vagabond means a person who wanders from place to place. Now you're going to explain why I said that. Verse 13, and Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Okay? And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slave Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. That's why right now, it's like right. It says right here, he's gonna be a fugitive vagabond on earth. He's gonna what? He's gonna be fleeing from justice like a fugitive would. These crackers, these Edomites, these so-called white people, done committed so much heinous acts throughout the history of the planet Earth that they really trying to flee away from history. Just trying to take history, slavery out of the textbooks, and doing all manner of wickedness to try to make it seem as though they're innocent of the crimes that they've committed, and they seeking to not be found guilty of those crimes like a fugitive. and a vagabond in the earth. And right man is a vagabond, man. He's a wanderer. He goes all over the planet earth, wandering in different lands that don't belong to him. And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. That's why if you kill a cracker, in certain parts of I think it's, what is it, Virginia? Forget the state. I think it's Georgia, as a matter of fact. Georgia. A black man is far more likely to get a black person is far more likely to get the death penalty for killing a white person than a white person is for killing a black person. Okay? Vengeance is going to be taken upon you, man, for killing these crackers. Think about it. Any Jake in the hood know that if a white person gets shot or is a victim of a crime, the police coming like that. They coming to bring vengeance, man. A black, so-called black man, so-called Negro, or Israelite, or one of the tribes, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, Mexican, so forth, whatever respective tribe you come from, if you get shot by the cops, they don't give a damn, man. And you get killed, they don't give a damn, by the police or whoever. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain. Look at that word mark. I already got to the point of the lesson, but since I'm already here, might as well keep going. The word there for mark is awath, sign, signal, a distinguishing mark, banner, remembrance, miraculous sign, omen, warning, token, ensign, standard, miracle, proof. So it's really talking about this. A sign or a distinguishing mark was placed upon Cain. That distinguishing mark was leprosy, man. That's why when he came back, he came out looking like Esau, looking like a so-called white man, which Esau, because in Hebrew word, Ishashwa, right? Meaning wasted away is he, because his pigmentation is wasted away. Okay? And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. So why does he let anyone finding him? So because he's going to have a distinguishing mark. He's going to be able to tell him from everybody else. In verse 16, it says, and Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. Now the reason of me mentioning that he was a vagabond and saying, I'm going to come back to that later, because the word vagabond is a wanderer. It said he was in the land of Nod. The word there for Nod is Nawad, which means wandering. The land to which Cain fled or wandered after the murder of Abel. Flight, exile. Now, it says of the country to which Cain fled. Cain didn't actually flee to a place called Nod. It wasn't the actual land. It wasn't the actual land. When it says he went in the land of Nod, he was in a land of wandering, meaning he was wandering in different lands. It wasn't an actual country, actual place. Okay? He was wandering throughout the different lands. That was him being a vagabond. Think about it. Why in the hell would the Most High tell him he could be a vagabond? Look at that word vagabond. Nawad, same word. Why would the Most High tell him you're going to be a vagabond? I mean, you're going to be a wanderer. Right? See? To shake, wave, or wander, move to and fro, flutter, show grief, have compassion on, to move to and fro, wander aimlessly, take flight. Why would the Most High tell him you're going to be a vagabond, meaning you're going to be a wanderer, but then he's going to go in a land called Nod? You ain't wandering over here. You in the land over here. You ain't wandering. Because when it said land of Nod wasn't an actual land, he's going to be in a land of wandering, meaning he was going to wander around in different lands. That's what it's talking about. So with that, I'm going to close. Hope you both learned something. Shalom.